Collingwood Essendon Friday night, a huge, absolutely huge game is upon us. Let's have a look at it. So Friday night, and this is a season-defining game for both teams. We need to win. Obviously, look, both teams need to win, right? But we need it more so. The Gold Coast game, we didn't rock up for three quarters. We rock up for the last quarter and we just can't get the job done. Essendon, sitting fourth, I don't know how, with a percentage of 99, went out in the torrential rain against Geelong, and they got outclassed by Geelong, a Geelong side that had only won one of their last six or one of their last 7 games or something like that. So, this game is a season-defining game for both of the teams. We need to start solidifying ourselves as contenders again because we looked far from it against Gold Coast after a 1 week bye, which is ridiculous. And Essendon want to show that they're, not flat track bullies, and because all they've done this year is beat teams that have been lower than 8th on the ladder or something like that. So they want to show their credentials, and what better way to show it than against Collingwood? So we know that there's going to be probably 89,000, 91,000 at the G. And it's going to be a grand final-like atmosphere. This game is going to go off its rocker. So we'll talk more about the previous game on the day of on Friday when we do the last time we met video, the rewind video. But the last time we met, just quickly, was that draw this year, of course, 85-85. But we are two different teams back then. Since then, two very, very, very different teams. Now, Collingwood go into this game, like I said, with that Gold Coast game hanging over our heads. And there's been a lot of talk of, have the Pies lost their aura? What's happening in the defence? What's going on with Darcy Moore? Got a video coming out about Darcy Moore later on tonight. What's happening? Where are they going to get all their scores from? What's going on? So we go into this with a lot more questions that need to be answered than we have answers going into this game. And I know what Craig McCraig is going to do. He is going to drill into them that we cannot keep being down at three-quarter time. I think I saw a stat that said we've been down, of the 66 close games or something, pretty much for about 50% of them, we were down at three-quarter time, which is fun. Like I said in my previous video, it's fun to do when you're winning, but if you keep doing that, the law of averages is going to come back and bite you in the ass, and you're going to start losing those games like that Gold Coast game. The old Collingwood of, 6-7 weeks ago even, would have put that game to bed when we were in front, and we wouldn't have let Gold Coast come back and win that game. So something definitely has to change, and it's going to change with this team being drilled into them this week that they need to come out and play the first quarter like it's the last quarter. Put 5 goals on them straight away. Keep going and keep hitting them hard. Don't just wait for it to be the last quarter and for them to try and go, okay, now we should win it. I don't like that mentality of, okay, three-quarter time, we're down by a couple of goals, now we can win it. Because teams are going to stop being scared of us, and they're going to not, previously it used to be, oh, crap, we're only up by 25 points at three-quarter time. Collingwood are going to come back and win somehow. And we do. Now it's, we're up by 25 points. Collingwood are going to come back, but then they're just going to run out of steam because they have done nothing for the game before, the tie game before. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. And then we will lose that aura of invincibility in last quarters. The thing I do like about our last quarters is that we're a fast finishing team, and when we want to turn it on, we want to turn it on. But we need that in quarters 1, quarters 2, and quarters 3. Do you remember when we did play Essendon previously? They kicked 4 goals from, 4 center clearances straight up, and we barely touched the ball. So we were down by 30 or close to 30 points in that first quarter, and we had to come back, and that's how we got that draw. So again, we can't let them do that. Essendon are a very good clearance side. That's something that they pride themselves on. Geelong took that away from them last week, and it was probably a little bit of the rain that took that away from them last week as well. So we know that they're going to be really hard in the contest, really hard in the clearances. But thankfully, our clearances, even though we've been here and there, we've been pretty shoddy these last few weeks, our clearance work and our contested work have been good for the most part. So that's something that we can bring. That's something that we probably weren't doing a lot of earlier this season when we played Essendon, when we played Port, and those 3 losses that we had beforehand. So that's something that we can do. It's that pressure prize that we know we can bring, and that's something that we definitely need to hit these bastards hard. Otherwise, they're just gonna give it straight back to us, and it's just going to be the same old song and dance where we're probably down by 35 points at three-quarter time. If we don't apply that pressure, if we're not having those tackles, if we're not applying that forward 50 pressure and letting the ball get out. Against Gold Coast, we saw the Suns really just from arc to arc, so from the back 50 to the forward 50, they were just running through, flooding us in waves, and we just couldn't keep up. And I don't know if that is a lack of cohesion between the teams, or like our team, or if it's they just didn't want to run, because Gold Coast were just handballing it over the top, running, handballing it over the top, running, and we were just almost looked flabbergasted, really. Like, we just didn't know what we wanted to do, and we let the Gold Coast Suns just, like, I guess, tsunami themselves all the way through, from the back half to the forward half. And Essendon are arguably a better team than the Suns because they're fourth on the ladder at the moment. So they're going to do, or want to do, the same thing. They're going to want to exploit us and do that same thing. And we can't let that happen. We just looked way too slow. How do you arrest that sort of slowness in a week? I don't know if you can. So there might be times where Essendon try and get over the top of us. And, we've been known to sort of play this chaos ball where we work well off the turnovers. We work well at getting the ball back. But recently, according to Champion Data, we haven't been doing that a lot. And we're the second worst team in the league to doing that. So I don't know how we're going to change that in a week, but something definitely has to change. Otherwise, it's just going to be a repeat of last week's game against the Suns. Now, personnel-wise, Braden Maynard is a test with that corky. I think he does get up, though. Josh Dacos is a test with the corky on his calf. If he doesn't get up, there's not a lot of players that can come back in. I think Finn or Bytel might come back. Bo McCreary's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a tear on his, what's that, solace on his calf or something. It's just pretty much just a calf sort of thing. So he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. So that's one forced change. John Noble's out with concussion. That's 2 forced changes, and possibly one of either Braden Maynard or Josh Dacos. I think if one of those two don't play, it might be Josh Dacos. So we could be looking at 3 outs. And the ins, we're not getting anyone back from injury except for Lockie Schultz because he had that gastro bug. So he'll come back. We really miss Lockie Schultz's pressure in that forward 50. Bobby Hill couldn't do it all. So Lockie Schultz works really well in tandem with Bobby Hill. So we'll see a lot more of that on Friday night. And I think Finn might come in. Bytel had a 30-plus game, 30-plus possession game in the VFL. Reef did a couple of nice things. So maybe Reef is that third fiddle to Nathan Kruger and Brody Mychek. I still think we persist with that because we're going to need our tools, because they will more than likely play Draper, Goldstein. You got what's his name, Harry Jones. You got Langford as well. So they got, and Peter Wright. They've got a lot of tall timbers. So Darcy Moore's going to have his work cut out for him. We need sort of Kruger to chop him out. So I don't see Kruger being dropped for any sort of small or anything like that. Big call and prediction. My big call and my prediction are one in the same. And I know I just said, I don't see how, how can we change it in a week and stuff, but this team knows exactly how to win, and they know how to change things, no pun intended, but on the fly. And I really do think, don't ask me why, but I really do think that we're going to come out and beat Essendon by over 30 points. I think this might be the game where everyone sort of stands up, because we were absolutely embarrassed, and Collingwood doesn't like being embarrassed. We got game time into Pendles, Mychek, Jordan De Goey, Markov. Joe Richards will definitely start because he's electric. So we got game time into 5 players that came back from injury. They're going to be way better for that run. And I think Jordan De Goey is going to get off the leash a little bit more than he did last week. That was 20 disposals and 2 goals. Nick Dacos probably gets tagged. Zach Merris averaged 37 touches the last 3 times we've played them. So someone needs to run with him. Maybe it's a Lockie Sullivan, because Lockie Sullivan played some sort of wing half forward role that didn't really work for him. We need him in that contest. We need him to stop those other guys, especially with no Tom Mitchell. So I do think we're going to win by 35 points, because I do think that these guys, now they've played a game together after not playing a game together for 6 or so weeks, and that synergy will come back. And yeah, it's just a matter of time. I hope it's just a matter of time before we really do start clicking. But anyway, guys, this has just been my preview of the Collingwood-Essendon huge clash at the MCG. If you're watching this before my next video comes out, I've got a video coming out tonight, which is Wednesday night, on Darcy Moore, what his season's looking like, what's going on, how that relates to Nathan Murphy not being in the team. Lots of stats, very different for me. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I promise you that. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and also next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later. She got that body. Oh me, oh my. Send the pics to my phone. GPOY. She got that body. Oh me, oh my. Ooh. Ooh. I kind of fucking dig that, hey? Is that too much? I actually really dig that. We'll see. Also, if you're watching this right at the end, because I'll put this at the end, this light here, I was sleeping in my bed. Well, I wasn't sleeping. I was trying to get to sleep. It was about 12:30 midnight. I guess last night, tonight, however you want to call it, was midnight on Tuesday midnight, and it's about 12:30. One of the dogs starts barking. Poppy starts barking. The little toy poodle, and then all of a sudden, this light was like this. This light was like that. Then as soon as Poppy starts barking, bang, that gets turned on. Now that can only be turned on with this remote and pressing that button here. This remote was right on my desk, and like there's physically no way. The dogs were sleeping with me. I was in the bed. There's no way anyone could have touched this remote. So I don't know. Long story short, I think this room is haunted. But if that turns off during, if something weird happens to that during the videoing of this, I might have to pray to the gods. Anyway.